to another episode of the Young Dazzles Discussions. Of course, this is post-week 6 of SKL. Joining me today is, of course, the softest hands in the West, the one, the only, Carter Silkymittens Alsaford. How you doing today, buddy?
Blake, I'm doing fine, dude. I'm doing fine. We just had a little bit of a tilting end to our LCS viewing experience, but I mean, I'm over it now. I'm happy. So
You know what? To be fair, so am I.
I'm in a good mood. So
hey,
yeah,
that's good. You know what? I guess I should.
Here.
And yeah, I mean, for those of you who don't know me, I mean, of course, everyone knows me because I'm a legend. But Blake Dazaninator Zanadine kicking off the show here. So let's get right into it. Week 6. Man, it's hard to believe we're already this far into the season. But on Monday, we did have a matchup between ADP Gaming and A53. And I'm going to pull out my predictions here because I promised I would keep track of these bad boys to see who was right between me, Cadence, and Zoom last week. And, of course, we had a 2-0 for A53, which I thought would be a lot closer of a series.
Right. Me too. I did too. ADP can put up a good fight sometimes. They're a little bit lower in our standings, but they always seem to have a way to fight in these games, in these series, even against the tougher opponents. So I expected to be a little bit closer myself, but you know what? Argon 53 can be a really good team, and as shown in this series. So yeah, I don't think it's too surprising. I expect it to be a little bit closer, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I called a 1-1 split, so I got to get that point to. Yeah, I had to face an ADP Gaming, you know.
I would say that's actually a little bit bold, maybe.
I don't know. I would just say A53 has shown inconsistency, and so is ADP. So, you know, when it goes for a series like that, I can't give the edge to one team. I usually just bite the bullet and say split.
There you go.
But so that's a point to Cadence for that one. And then game 2 of the week. This was the match of the week that we saw. We saw two old guard SKL teams facing off. We had visMajor versus Fellowship of the Nerds.
That's right.
And this was definitely a series I did not see happening. And it was actually visMajor taking the 2-0. And the one game didn't even look that close.
The one game did not even look that close. I don't know. Fellowship of the Nerds, you know, I don't know. I don't really know what to say. They've kind of showed a little bit of slippage here, I think, from last year. I would venture even this much to say that they've looked a little bit weaker here in the last couple of weeks than they did last year, especially in the finals. They kind of leveled up for those finals, and I feel like it's just they haven't really shown what they're capable of. They've kind of been playing a binary play style, kind of going for the same picks, not really showing too different of a play style. And against those top teams, you know, that's not really going to cut it. They didn't show really too much adaptable or versatility. I guess they weren't able to adapt in game 2, and it just, I don't know. Fellowship of the Nerds dropping the ball a little bit here.
Yeah, and I mean, this is where, I mean, even though they're a top-tier team, this is where they need those points coming in. I mean, it's week 6. You got to secure the top 4 this year to make sure you make it into those playoffs. So they've been struggling a little bit, and it's kind of hard to watch because, I mean, last year they had so much success as they went forward in the season, and they still look a little kind of at a halt. They're not kind of catching the ground that we thought they were going to come in here and just keep their consistent top 3. So we'll get into the standings after. We don't have to talk about that much. But for me, definitely a surprise that the 2-0 comes out here for VM, and no one gets that point there. As me and
I at least expected it closer. If it was going to be 2-0, I expected it to be a bit of a closer 2-0, but unfortunately, just wasn't the case.
Yeah, and I mean, especially with teams this close, but it was a very unfortunate series for Fellowship of the Nerds. I think they were a little heartbroken with that one. And then going forward, I guess we had TMI versus Lunatic Piece. If I call it Lunatic Piece one more time, someone please beat me with a bludgeon. But and that was actually an interesting series. I casted that. It was a 2-0 for Team Malicious Intent, but a lot closer in that second game than I think even TMI would have been happy with. And definitely some interesting plays were made there.
Interesting plays. I was unfortunately unable to catch this one, but yeah, I heard great things from this matchup, and I think it was a lot closer than I would have imagined as well.
I'll give you the rundown if you want. So we
had give me the quick and the dirty here.
Game 1 was pretty dominant by TMI. They do TMI things. They had an excellent draft. Flex picked a lot. Didn't really know where they were going. All of a sudden, they just kind of came into game, very controlled, took the objectives when they needed to. Game 2, however, they used Poof again this week, actually. So they had him in the jungle using the substitute. Help me not there as well. So Game 2 was kind of it was pretty close for a majority of the game. TMI started building a lead, but it wasn't until later in the game. And they attempted a dragon in which the Ezreal ended up stealing with his ulti. And then TMI actually swung towards Baron, where the jungler of Lunatic Piece actually smite stole it from TMI, and they aced them at the Baron pit.
Wow.
So it was like within a minute and a half, this game just got flipped on its head, and I don't think anyone really saw it coming. So they were kind of taken off guard at this point, and it looked very scary because Lunatic Piece just started making plays. They started pushing in objects, and then I believe they found themselves a very unfortunate team fight. TMI aced them and then ended the game, but it was a long game. It pushed towards that 50. It was pretty close to a 60-minute game, I believe. It was very close, and it was good to see this new coming team. It was the first time I think I've ever seen TMI kind of sweat in that situation.
Yeah, no kidding. So it kind of tests them a little bit too. They haven't really had those moments where they've been truly tested, and kind of in the face of adversity. It's kind of interesting to see how those top teams handle it. Kind of like the Immortals, right? They go through the entire season and then run into a little bit of adversity. See how they handle. Well, not too badly. I guess they pick up the 2-0 here this week. So yeah, I'd say that's okay. And there's a lot to learn, I think, from games like that too. Of course, me not seeing the actual game. But there's definitely ways to shore up and make sure that kind of thing doesn't happen, and kind of maybe fix their play calling a little bit if that's where they think they had messed up in that game. But it's a learning experience.
Yeah, that's for sure. I'm sure they had a bit of a discussion afterwards. Poof played well. It was just unfortunate with those smites, just not quite on time. So. And then our fourth and last game of the week, we had Revolution Death Squad versus Sasquatches, where Revolution Death Squad picking up the 2-0, and that's actually pretty crucial for them as they're making quite the push for playoffs here.
Yeah, one of those teams that's a bubble team right now, right in the 5th spot after week 6. So they're definitely hungry for that last and final spot. They're going to be challenging Fellowship of the Nerds for that one, and I think they're still alive going into the next week, I do believe. So they've got a definite shot coming out this week against Sasquatches, one of the lower teams. I was expecting Sasquatches to put up a decent fight here. And Revolution Death Squad actually just played really well and really clean. And I think I would have predicted a 2-0 in this scenario, I think. But with Sasquatches being right there, right close, Sasquatches has been getting better and better as the weeks have went on. And they definitely, I think, showed some of their best games and some of their best drafts, actually, in this 2-0. But unfortunately, the late game came around, and just the late game shot calling not there, and they just weren't able to take it very far. So it was unfortunate, but Sasquatches have been growing, and Revolution Death Squad also been growing. So great series overall.
And yeah, that's something we keep hitting on every week, is we see growth from Sasquatches, and that's pretty much the most important thing. So as long as they continue growing and become better as a team, I mean, even if they've got one week left, maybe they can pull out the win in this last week. But just seeing them grow as a team is really awesome to see. And RDS finally kind of getting their ground. They've been another kind of inconsistent team. So being able to find themselves at 2-0 is pretty important at this point in the season. But going into next week, this is officially the last week of the regular season. We do have week 8, but that is technically just makeup games for Lunatic Piece. So week 8 is kind of a Lunatic makeup week. Yeah, they have 3 games they have to play.
Week 8 will all be streamed, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. I think we have it on. No, I believe we have it on 3 different days so that they can all be cast on at 7.
Perfect.
So those are makeup games from when Anixia Esports played the teams within the first 3 weeks. So every team kind of getting a chance for a rematch. And I know visMajor's probably looking for that makeup, as they did split that series 1-1. So
yep, that's a couple points right there that they could make up in the standings.
But that's week 8, and we got to talk about week 7. So
we're talking about week 7.
We have to talk about week 7. Week 8, it's got some time before we get there.
I actually love the schedule. I'm just looking at it for the first time right now, and I'm loving it, Dazaninator.
Okay, this is actually a really exciting week, and I actually really like the schedule for this week because going into this is big for playoffs. Like this week is like playoffs is usually pretty set. Last year we had pretty set who's going to go where, but there's a lot of movement and growth that can happen here. So our first match of the week is going to be Lunatic Piece versus ADP Gaming. And of course, Lunatic Piece, we've seen them only play 3 games so far. I believe.
Yep.
And they've won 2, they've lost 1, and they've split 2 series. So they've got a lot of ground to make up. So they do have the 2 points, and they're going up against ADP, who we've kind of seen kind of inconsistent a little bit. And this could be a good push for them. I don't think at this point ADP can make top
let's
4.
See. They're
The
4 points
fourth
behind
place.
Fellowship.
There's
How many more
third
games
place
do they
tied.
have?
There's one game. They have one game. This is their last game.
Oh, then they're
so
unfortunately
because let's just we'll give a quick rundown here. We have Malicious Intent in first at 18 points. They've won all 6 matches 2-0. So giving you that 2-0 gives you 3 points instead of just the 2. You get 1 for additional win. We have visMajor sitting a very close second place with 5 games played at 13 points. So definitely still close. I believe if they win this week in their match against Lunatic Piece, they have a chance at winning or tying for first. So we'll get into that after. And then Argon 53 and Fellowship of the Nerds both with 6 games tied in 4th place at 8 points.
Yep.
And we have Revolution Death Squad at 5th place with only 5 games played and 5 points. So they do have a game in hand on both A53 and Fellowship of the Nerds, and they're only 3 back. So that's 1 set. If they're able to 2-0 a set, that's definitely going to push them up in the rankings. So that's going to be huge for them. And then we have ADP Gaming, who's at 4 points with 6 games played. So unfortunately, they're not going to make it to playoffs this season. And we have Sasquatches in 8th. As 0-5, unfortunately, they will not be able to make playoffs. We have Lunatic Piece, though, like we said, 2 points after 3 games. They have 4 games, left.
They have 4 games left, so that's a ton of games.
And so they have a shot, and we're gonna have to wait till week 8 really to assess that. So going into this, the first week of the match, the first match of the week is not going to be a super important match as far as the rest of the standings, but very important for Lunatic Piece. We have them taking on ADP Gaming, and I've totally forgot. Let's see, 2-0, 2-0, and that's a 2-0 for TMI and a 1-1 split. And actually, all right, so Cadence actually winning the predictions with 2 out of 4 right, and me and Zoom.
Wow.
So, congrats to Cadence. But going forward, I got to keep track of ours now, Silky, as we go into week 7 here.
I'm loving it.
So let me just take the old Silkster down and put the old Dazzle. And we'll see. So game 1, I'll take this one away. Lunatic Piece versus ADP Gaming. I've said this a million times. ADP Gaming, I love their play style. They're definitely my dark horse team coming into this. But unfortunately, I'm going to give the 2-0 to Lunatic Piece. I think they're a very strong team. They've shown that they could take these top teams to these later games by fluke or not. I mean, stealing objectives. They did hold on into their very high-skilled players, and I'm not sure if ADP's Gaming can really pull it together for this last week. And I know Lunatic Piece, they've got that drive. It's kind of like they're approaching playoff time. They need the wins, and I feel like that's going to fuel them a little bit. So I'm going to give the 2-0 to Lunatic Piece.
Wow, that's a pretty good analysis there, Dazaninator. I am going to go way off your prediction here and also go for a 2-0. I'm going to say Lunatic Piece is going to 2-0 ADP Gaming here. I think ADP Gaming, I'm a real fan of diversity through pick ban and play styles and stuff like that. Is just gives your opponents a lot more to think about, in pick ban, a lot more to think about throughout the game. I think ADP Gaming just plays too much of a binary play style. They really like to go for just the same champions over and over. Flamefire Triple X, love the guy to death. Picks just mainly Sejuani, and then after that kind of defaults to Gragas, and then after that it's like anyone's guess, and really hasn't found much success outside of kind of these wombo combo style compositions. They really go for the big team fights, the wombo combo. That's their style. It's worked for them throughout the qualifiers, got them into the regular season, and when they've had success playing the same thing. I just think against a team like Lunatic Piece that has a good head on their shoulders, they have good players in each of their lanes. I don't think it's going to happen. If ADP Gaming takes one game off Lunatic Piece, I think all the pieces are going to come together. The stars are going to align, and it's going to be a good win for ADP Gaming. But outside of that, I think Lunatic Piece pretty much has this one in the bag. 2-0 for them.
And it's definitely something we kind of talked about, where it's all about execution, and it's very reliant on execution. And if you can't execute that wombo combo, it's really going to bite you in the ass.
And you ban away a couple champions, and then all of a sudden it kind of already is starting to fall apart there. So it's just playing one.
They're a fun team to watch.
They are really fun to watch.
The execution of those wombo combos definitely they live or die by kind of.
So, yeah, definitely.
Hoping to see something a little new here coming out this week if they want to pull out something. So we got the agree on the 2-0. So this is definitely this is gonna be one of two matches of the week because this is the rematch of the finals. We've got TMI versus visMajor, Team 1 versus Team 2, fighting for that first place spot potentially. If I believe the way our rules work is if visMajor actually 2-0s TMI and 2-0s Lunatic Piece in week 8, they would take first place as they will have the head-to-head record going against Malicious Intent. So even splitting 1-1 would be pretty big for visMajor. Oh no, it would still keep them in second because they won one RDS.
Actually, so, if visMajor wins the next 2-0s them. Oh, I guess. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so basically visMajor needs the 2-0.
Needs the 2-0. Yeah, needs
to
the 2-0.
Secure themselves that first place spot.
Yep, and they'll secure it through points if they're able to 2-0. Oh, but they're against Lunatic Piece, who's a difficult kind of deam. So
they have definitely a rough schedule, but this is going to be a big matchup, and I know I know there's been a lot of hype around this matchup as Help Me and Four are brothers, so I'm sure they are looking forward to playing each other. Always see them in Twitch chat kind of commenting on each other's games. So this personally is a huge matchup for me. I am looking so forward to this. This is kind of like the two most consistent teams coming in against each other. Oh. Finally, we've seen visMajor come out.
You know what I just thought of?
What?
I'm not casting this week.
Oh, you don't get this is. I'm casting this game. It's on a Tuesday. Tuesday's my day. I'm casting it.
This is rigged. You're playing the long con all throughout the year, only casting on Tuesdays because your work schedule.
What up?
And you were planning for this freaking game. I can tell it.
Call me a crook. I do what I can. Anyways, back to this. I'm gonna say, listen, TMI versus VM. This is such an interesting matchup. I think we finally seen VM have their consistent roster. They finally had Frank Pond. You know, he did a great job when he was filling in there for them. But now Four is back. It sounds like DevMaster J finally a little more consistent. He's going to be showing up a little more often. So 4 weeks without having the stable roster, they come back. They pretty handedly 2-0'd Fellowship of the Nerds. Now they're looking to take down TMI. So TMI was such a strategic. You know what? Since I broke down the last one first, I'll give you first crack at this one. Take it away, Silky.
This is going to be really hard to kind of pull apart here, Dazaninator, because it can go so many different ways. I think right now I'm going to say that visMajor is actually the underdog just for some of the reasons that you stated there. They haven't had the stable roster. They've kind of shown a little bit of signs of weakness here, a little bit in some places, some areas. And Team Malicious Intent has just overall looked like such a good team. Haven't dropped a single game yet. So I think visMajor is the underdog. So I guess we'll talk about it from visMajor's point of view, what their win conditions are. If they want to beat the best team in the league right now.
You know what? This is good. I like this. I think this is the match to really pick and break apart. So let's do that. All right, you want to talk win conditions? Let's do that. How about this? Do you want to break down the entire match, and then at the same time we'll give our thoughts on what we think the series will go?
Sure. Or do you want to do it like they kind of do on whatever
Holy flying shit.
What?
Sorry, excuse my language. I just watched a spider rappel from the roof straight in front of my eyes onto my desk.
Was it big or was it small? Did it get out?
It's dead. It's right there on my paper. I just killed it. You can look at the stream. Holy! Sorry for my foul language. I'm just not a big fan of
on stream as well.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of spiders, so that was not okay. But continue. Sorry. Sorry. What were you saying?
I'm tilted now. Now I'm kind of paranoid that the same thing's gonna happen to me.
Dude, one time I was actually playing. Okay, quick story. One time I was playing a ranked game, and a spider dropped onto my keyboard in the middle of my game, and I fucking ran. Excuse my language. I ran. I was so scared. I do not like spiders. I'm a big boy. Spiders scare the crap out of me. So I actually ran away and I called for my roommate. She was also afraid of spiders, so she was not gonna come help me. So I actually wouldn't sit down in my chair. I played the rest of the game standing up in fear that the spider was gonna kill me.
Oh my God, Blake, that is
Yeah, it was a bit of an overreaction.
Well, you stated for the record, and now it's going to be on the internet forever. So we can come back to this video anytime you're feeling big and tough and manly. I'm just going to pull out this video and boom. But you've got something on me, so maybe I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I got the blackmail in the back pocket. You know that. Dude. But okay. All right. Sorry. What were you saying? We do like who does what?
I I like argue for a team how they're gonna win it, and then you argue for the other team how they're gonna win it? Is that like, or should we just like?
Yeah, sure. All right. You which team you want to talk about? I'll take VM. You can take
Malicious Intent.
Yeah, you take Malicious Intent. You break them down. You give me their win conditions.
Okay.
You start.
Okay, I'll start. So wait, I'm arguing for Malicious Intent. You're arguing for visMajor?
Yeah.
Okay. If Team Malicious Intent wants to win this game, all they've got to do is stick to what they've been doing all year long. They got to play versatile. They got to get the flex picks in their composition in the pick band. They are really smart. They've got a lot of behind-the-scenes workers as well. I know DXI Edge, one of the players and coaches from last year, is on board as an analyst. The guy lives and breathes League of Legends. He really helps out. They've got a really smart shot caller in the bot lane in Momani. I think their pick band is going to be versatile. It's going to be hard for visMajor to get a read on the lane matchups, which is really where they exceed. And I think with all that confusion, they're going to maybe get countered a little bit here in the top lane and mid lane, whereas where visMajor likes to get their leads as well as the jungle. I think there's going to be a lot on stake here with the brother matchup as well. So I think if 4 doesn't get ahead early or maybe gets killed a couple times early, maybe a little bit of tilt will come in, and maybe we'll see the younger brother, I do believe, help me, his younger brother, kind of pull ahead there. Then he's got that to argue about around the house. I don't know if they live together, but he can
I think so, because I think the comment he's not even the best jungler in the house comes out quite frequently. Well, so we'll gauge it. I think that's true. So.
Yeah, and Malicious Intent as well. I do think it's going to be pretty rough in the lanes, pretty rough to call for us as analysts in the solo lanes. The bot lane, however, I think visMajor's bot lane is really good, but I think visMajor's bot lane often wins, but sometimes they don't. They just go even, and they're just happy to take kind of that back foot and let the rest of the map carry. Whereas the bot lane, I think they actually roll through the bot lane a lot more. Team Malicious Intent just kind of leaves their solo lanes to do what they do, and then they roll through the bot lane. Help me is often in the bot lane getting the AD carry, little tough guy, or whatever he's called nowadays. So I think the bot lane is going to be a huge point of focus for Malicious Intent, and I think if they get the bot lane rolling, then there's not much that Devmaster J and Pulse is going to be able to do, because I think just the priority is in the rest of the map. And I think the rest of the map is good to hold it down. Smilodon's going to be a rock in the top lane. TSM Neverlucky is going to hold down the mid lane, and then they're going to get rolling through the bot lane. And I think it's just going to be a rough one. So I'm going to say... Oh, wait, I won't do predictions. I'll let you argue.
All right.
We'll get our predictions.
So I can argue for VM here. I'm going to take the point that I was actually going to hit up on as well. I believe a huge point for VM to win is getting that bot lane going. I know you hit on it. I'm going to have to agree with you. As much as I do love VM, Devmaster J and Paul says, little tough guy, Mo Money, definitely the stronger bot lane. So we definitely see the team. We've always talked about, they're so jungle focused, but their solo lanes this season have stepped up huge. I mean, Panda has been an absolute carry lord up there. He's no longer like that Fiora one-trick pony, only like kind of just crushing with those. He's very versatile in his picks. We've seen him bring out an Alawi and do quite fairly well with that. We've seen him play Gnar, Fiora. He's a very consistent player. Him and Taeyong definitely strong, solid points on that team, and it's really taken a lot of pressure, I guess, off of 4 to be that main carry on that team. So I think at 4 win condition with them, they definitely need to get that bot lane ahead. So I would see probably 4 going down there. On that side, I think the jungle matchup is also going to be very interesting, and it's going to have to be very proactive, with both junglers being very gank heavy and very map focused junglers. Both of them like to get their lanes going. They farm quite effectively and efficiently. It's going to be very interesting to go, but I got to give the solo lane advantage to visMajor. I think Taeyong is an absolute beast in that mid lane. It's very unlikely to see him lose lane. Regardless what champion he plays, he could be the assassin, he could be that versatile utility. Same side, I guess we have seen TSM Neverlucky kind of play that role. He's pulled out a Scion mid before, but I got to give it to Taeyong. I think he's a little stronger there. The top lane's definitely an even match, but I think maybe a little more versatility and consistency coming out from Panda. But that bot lane is definitely going to be key, so I think it's going to be a lot on 4 to try him and Panda to get that bot lane ahead. That's what's going to get VM the win. So, right. Silky, how do you think this series is going to break down?
Now we got to take away the bias that we just forced upon ourselves because I was arguing for one team, you're arguing for the other. Now erase that bias. It's all gone.
I'm going
to
quickly scrape this.
Yeah, scrape it away.
I killed the spider with the sheet I'm putting our predictions on.
Oh,
so.
Perfect. it will be a memento for when you lose your prediction here. But this is the easy cop out is just to say like 1-1 because we've got like the number 1 team and the number 2 team. I really like the guys on visMajor. They're good guys. I don't think it's a cop out for me here. I'm actually going to say 1-1 here. I think that one game visMajor is actually just going to get their lanes too ahead. They're going to snowball, and visMajor is going to take one of the games. Then the other game, the first game and the second game, Malicious Intent is just going to be even throughout the entire map, and they're going to be methodical. They're going to be very precise in the way they take down visMajor and systematically dissect them. So I think it's going to be 1-1 here. I'm going to call it 1-1 visMajor. It's not a cop out, trust me. I believe it. I believe it's a 1-1.
It's okay. I am also going to say 1-1, and it sucks that we're doing the same thing. It's just honestly, I got to agree with you. I think 4 gets that team snowballing, and that's just how they win. They snowball, they push, they group. It's really good. TMI also does the same thing, but I feel like TMI at the same time doesn't snowball quite as quickly as VM does. But I think the big point here is draft pick. We got to watch it for the draft phase, the pick ban phase. I think TMI definitely has an advantage there, but I think they also pick a lot of curveball champions at the same time, and they like to try out new things to kind of push themselves, see if it works.
That may backfire on them.
And I feel like that VM can really take advantage of that. As 4, I think 4 is a lot of their preparation. He does a lot of their team comps and figures out what he wants the team to play. So I think they can abuse some of the stuff that TMI likes to try, and I think that they will definitely take a game, but I don't think this will be a 2-0 series either way, and if it is, it's going to be a hell of a close series, because I can't say either team really has a clear advantage, as we've seen both teams play quite consistently.
Yeah, I would maybe argue that, but I think that some of that has to do with a little roster stuff. But both teams have had some roster stuff as well. So I wouldn't say that visMajor has really been consistent. TMI has been consistent. visMajor has actually probably been more inconsistent, but they've got their full roster.
Had their full roster.
They've got their full roster, and so they're looking as strong as they are coming into week 7. It's really exciting. I'm so excited.
All right, that's definitely a match you guys got to check out. But then we have game 3, which will be A53 versus Sasquatches. And as much as this game doesn't mean much to Sasquatches, it is so important for A53, who are currently tied for that 3rd place mark, with RDS nipping at their heels. So they definitely need to pick up a 2-0 here to solidify their spot. And I think it is fair to say, I will give my opinion, I think it will be a 2-0 for A53. They've kind of shown a little more consistency now that their roster has become a little more stable. They used subs for a couple of weeks, picked up a winner here, a drop here, but they seem to be a little more consistent. I think they are more skilled, and their pick ban is a little better than Sasquatches. Even though we've seen them grow, I don't know if they've grown enough to take a game off A53, so I'm going to give the 2-0 to A53.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you here. Argon 53 is going to get the 2-0 over the Sasquatches. Argon 53 has been looking really good in the last couple of weeks, specifically kind of in the mid lane here. Dark Creations coming in. While I'll give it a plus and minus to this guy, he's a newcomer, so we didn't really know much about him. He's got so far shown a little bit of a small champion pool, but when he gets those champions, he just goes off. The guy absolutely crushed it this week on, I believe it was Zed and then Yasuo as well. So he's looking really good. So I think Argon 53, they cannot drop a game here. It's a 2-point swing if they drop a game, because if they tie, they get 1 point. If they win the series 2-0, they get 3. You can't drop those 2 points this close, because you got Lunatic Piece nipping at their heels and Revolution Death Squad as well. 2 teams that are known to take games off of good teams. Revolution Death Squad took a game off visMajor. Lunatic Piece went the distance with TMI. Can't drop these games like this, so Argon 53 needs to come out this week.
All right, we're seeing eye to eye.
Boom.
So then this series, last series of the week, Thursday's game, huge matchup with Fellowship of the Nerds versus RDS, and this is really another one of those games. We said RDS with game in hand, 3 points off of Fellowship of the Nerds and A53, who are both tied for that 3rd spot. So RDS could get in here with 2 2-0s. I'm gonna flat out. I think it's gonna be a 1-1 series. I think RDS is gonna split with Fellowship of the Nerds. Just the way Fellowship of the Nerds have been playing these last 2 weeks, they've looked very inconsistent. They don't look at the strong of. I don't know if it's the meta. I don't know if it's just they're just having a little bit of trouble with inconsistency. But they haven't looked as strong as we've seen them usually. And RDS is finally starting to catch their feet on the ground. And I mean, I wouldn't say they're a bad team at all. They've shown that they can play with some of the big boys, and with Fellowship of the Nerds on a bit of a struggle, I definitely think they could pick up a game here. But I think Fellowship of the Nerds is pretty good at adapting. I can't see them dropping 2 games. They've shown they can play from behind. RDS very good in the laning phases, have shown they can get leads. But that bot lane for Fellowship of the Nerds has been so consistent, and they've shown that they can solo carry some of those games. And so I'm going to give the 1-1. I think it'll be a very close series, but I definitely think RDS is going to take one of those games off Fellowship of the Nerds.
I hate this. I wish I disagreed with you, but I was hoping you were going to say 2-0 for Fellowship or 2-0 for Revolution Death Squad, because I look at this game and I'm thinking 1-1 as well. I'm a little bit shaky on Fellowship here. They have looked inconsistent, and I agree that their bot lane can solo carry games, but when their bot lane gets behind, which happens sometimes, especially this year, they kind of just crumble under the pressure. I agree as well. Maybe not the adapting to the meta as well. They've kind of fallen back on a lot of the same picks. They've, in the jungle, I don't mean to pick on Bosgood or anything, but he likes to play Gragas, Elise. Some of the top junglers right now are Kindred, Graves. I guess Elise is like next tier. Gragas.
I will give him some credit. I believe Graves has been banned against him quite frequently.
Okay, they have taken it off the table, and I'm not just talking about him.
Oh no, yeah.
It's been throughout the whole team, right? I think last season a lot of their success came from when Harablo in the top lane, he was absolutely crushing it last year. Not so much this year. You've had a little bit of resistance this year, and in the bot lane as well, they seem to crush it a lot too. This year, the top lane hasn't really been getting ahead as much, and same with the bot lane. And then Jay Frazier has always been that rock. He's kind of been the backbone of the team, playing a lot of the control mages like Lulu, Anivia, stuff like that, really, and Zed. And they just haven't really been going off as much as they have last year. So I think Revolution Death Squad, if everything comes together for them, they have a strong laning phase, I think they can take a game off Fellowship of the Nerds, just with how inconsistent Fellowship has been. But I think if Fellowship brings their A game, they could easily 2-0. But I'm feeling like it. I'm getting that itch in the elbow here.
Okay.
Revolution Death Squad's going to take a game off.
Because we are tied. Because we agree on every single point.
We're going to have a tiebreaker or something?
I'm going to say our tiebreaker is we have to choose one of the series we won and say which team you think has a potential of doing a 2-0. And I'm going to be bold. I want this tiebreaker to go through. I'm going to say there's a possibility that RDS 2-0s Fellowship of the Nerds.
Oh, whoa.
I'm going to curveball it. I mean, I love the guys at Fellowship of the Nerds. Great guys. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they're bad players. I just, like we said, we've seen them struggle a lot, and we've seen RDS kind of, pick up their slack lately. And that's going to be a series, I think. I'm not going to touch the other series. It's too close for me to be like, But I think this one, I think if Fellowship kind of has an inconsistency still, RDS can kind of pick at that. And love the guys at Fellowship, but I'm going to say my tiebreaker for this, I'm going to say RDS might 2-0 Fellowship of the Nerds.
Okay, I was thinking like, okay, I'll go to the other 1-1 series. I'll go to visMajor and Malicious Intent and lean one way on there, but since you can
go to that one as well.
Okay.
I said you could pick either of them. I picked this one because I think this one I can be a little more this.
Okay. You know what? I'm not going to. I'm going to go. I'll just stay on this series. If I had to change one of my 1-1 predictions, I'd probably change this one. I'm sticking with the 1-1, but if one team does 2-0, I think it'll be Fellowship, actually. I think they're going to start to feel the playoff hype, which is where they played some of their best games last year. Right around playoffs rolled around, they looked like absolute beasts, like boom, night and day. I think the night and day change is going to come in week 7 instead of week 9 or 10, whenever playoffs is, and it's going to come this week. Boom, 2-0 Fellowship. But I still think it's a 1-1. But if it's gonna go 2-0, Fellowship's got it.
I think that's the thing is I don't get me wrong. I would love to see Fellowship of the Nerds get their playoff buff and come through.
Yeah, you can't get attached in this league. But if they get 2-0'd, good on Revolution Death Squad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't want to show bias. Yeah, and that's the thing. I feel like it's like we get to know these teams. It's like you can't show bias at the same time. Mm-hmm. You gotta give your point. So that's our predictions for this week, and I make sure to check it out. That's Monday. We have LP versus ADP. This week's gonna be huge for the standings. We'll touch over playoffs next week on Dazzles because that'll be really important. But we're gonna transition here a little bit from SKL, and we're gonna hit up the big series this weekend, the EU and NALCS Finals. We had the third place matches yesterday. Okay, I don't really want to talk. You probably don't want to talk about it either. Immortals versus Team Liquid. Immortals.
We can just brush over.
We'll brush over this one because I kind of
right.
want to talk about the EU one really quick and about my problem with this meta right now. But anyways, the NA series, we had Immortals versus Team Liquid. Team Liquid not looking so hot, but also I think Team Liquid just kind of smartened the hell up after TSM 3-0'd them, and they kind of showed why they're 17-1. Huni kind of like got a lot of flack for not being able to play these tank top laners, and he grabbed him, threw him in there, and they looked like a totally different team against Team Liquid.
Yeah, they were really silly. I think we don't need to tread too much on this one. I think everyone knows they're silly. I think Immortals knows they're silly in the TSM series. Their pick ban was, you could defend it all you want, tooth and nail, but when it came down to it, no, they didn't read the meta well at all. And
disrespectful almost with some of their picks, but
well, maybe a little bit disrespectful, but I think they just thought they had the strong picks at the time. Yeah. And obviously it didn't work out for them. TSM showed up as well in the playoffs. I think they gotten better. But coming to this series, Immortals, yeah, like you said, smartened up a little bit. Team Liquid showed a lot of jitters. It was like the Team Liquid from NRG was gone, and it was like week 1 or week 3 or whatever Team Liquid when they first brought in these rookies. It honestly looked like a regression from Team Liquid, and they didn't play well. Lorlo went back to his old ways of kind of making like those
questionable calls.
What was that? Like I would have
TP. TP.
Yeah. TP Dardoch wasn't as dominant, obviously, and then Matt and Piglet weren't able to get the leads they needed. Phoenix was just whatever. Their pick ban wasn't very good, so even like Loco, kind of maybe a little shaky there. Yeah, the Tristan.
Yeah, I'm gonna let loose on Loco pretty soon here.
Remember, I'm not crazy. I'm just Loco.
Yeah, but you know what though? To props, TL coming in with 3 really young new players, and that CLG-TL series was nuts. They played very well in there. Very unfortunate and real cheesy double TP crushed Piglet, but
I mean that was the defining moment. And that's why they were so traumatized they regressed to like week 3 TL. Yeah. So,
but I gotta give props to those guys. They had a great split for a brand new team coming in with a couple of names that people were like, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So, and another thing, just looking towards summer split as well. Immortals, brand new roster. TSM, brand new roster. TL, brand new roster. And then CLG playing as good as they are. Next split's shaping up to be like one of the best probably splits of NALCS in recent history.
Yeah, we kind of talked about that a little bit. We'll get into that after this. But I mean, then we had the 3rd place EU match. That was H2K versus Fnatic. Very entertaining series. Went all the way to Game 5. And this is my damn problem with this meta. H2K absolutely crushing Game 5.
Yep.
They get aced at 30 minutes. Fnatic pushes through 5 turrets and ends the game in one swift move. That's ridiculous that at a 30-minute mark you can push through 5 turrets and a Nexus after acing a team of 30 minutes. And ridiculous.
I think I can like feel for them too, because that's like probably the worst feeling. I know when you lose, like you see the Nexus go down, you're like, okay, we lost. But sitting there for like 30 seconds, I was just like watching. I wasn't watching them take towers. I knew the towers were going to go down. I was watching the player cams because they were showing the player cams for H2K, and they're all just like sitting there for like 30 seconds, just like waiting to lose for like 30 seconds. They like had coffee, they're talking, whatever, they're crying, they're getting their tissues prepped for like 30 seconds. It's absolutely crushing.
And it's so devastating because they were dominating that game. I think Fnatic hadn't taken a turret at all that game, and I think they had an open inhibitor on Fnatic. They made one bad call, get caught in a team fight, and lose the entire game off that one call. And it was ridiculous. It's got to be the most devastating thing. And I mean, those guys are pretty emotional, forgiven, almost having to be pulled out of it. He wanted to go to MSI. Going to get held off of that. But, I mean, they had a strong performance. H2K looked very strong. And, I mean, you got to give props to them. They came in being one of the top teams. Kind of faltered a little bit in the playoffs. But they played a heck of a game. But at the same time, Fnatic, very strong team. But I definitely think H2K should have won that series. But, hey, that's the point of the league. You make one bad call and could be the end of the game for you.
Yeah, so I think you can't, like, erase that because that's always going to be around in league. Like, you play a solid game, then it gets to late game, you make one bad call. I just think it came a little early. is the thing.
This is the thing that bothers me. At 30 minutes that you can run
Yeah.
through 5 turrets and a Nexus before anyone spawns. Like, I believe they were spawning as the Nexus was up.
As like the Nexus was like at a third of health, but at that point you just like ignore them and just like keep hitting it. Like, they can't kill all of us before this thing goes down. So that's how it ended. So I agree with you. It was a little disappointing to was kind of a resident sleeper game, but H2K was definitely ahead. But it was a little bit of a resident sleeper. I think there was only like 11 kills total by the end, but it's okay. That's okay. It was EU.
Yeah.
EU's slow and methodical. Then you come to NA.
Before we leave EU, let's just talk about the EU final. We had G2 versus Origin, and I know we talked a little bit amazing, saying that the series won't be as close as you think. But G2 being a very dominant team going into playoffs, they 3-1 OG, and they looked very stellar. G2, I think, was kind of surprised a lot of people with their roster, even from the start of the split. I think a lot of people were just kind of like, oh, okay, their roster. But, man, they came out. I didn't see Perks being as impactful as he ended up being on this team. But Emperor, watching him play with TDK last split when he finally came over and played, he was a very good AD carry. He was very strong mechanically. Took him in my LCS fantasy draft. Got me some sick points. But, I mean, Kikis being put in the top lane, Hybrid being a very strong player, and then I believe it's Trick is their jungler, correct?
Yes, sir.
And he played quite well. And they were just very dominant in that series.
They were absolutely dominating. Yeah, amazing tweeting out. It's not going to be as close as people think. Absolutely right, my friend. Just not in the way you would have liked. G2, I knew they were probably going to win this one. I predicted 3-1. Wouldn't have been surprised. I actually wouldn't have been surprised with the sweep. Origin just hasn't been looking very good. Just a little bit of inconsistency there. I know. I was kind of surprised that they actually made it to finals. I thought maybe they would have like thrown it in the semis or something like that, but they made it to the finals, so good for them. They get their 90 points in the circuits, and I just expected Origin to be better throughout the whole season. So when they didn't show up, I knew that G2 probably had this one in the bag. So yeah, there's not too much to talk about there. Yeah. G2 coming in hot.
All right, we'll transition to the old NALCS Finals. Of course, I don't know if you guys know, I'm kind of a TSM fanboy. I rep my TSM gear quite often. And you know what? TSM losing today, 3-2 to CLG. Say whatever I want. I can be a salty fanboy, but it was a hell of a series. I got to give props to that. Just a bit of a few misplays by TSM in that last game, but you cannot take away from the macro play and shot calling of CLG, coming out victorious, going that risky Runans into Ginsu's, and I know we talked a lot about it during the game, being a very risky pick. They kind of held it off, but you got to give props to CLG. They played the game very well. Their macro game, I mean, Game 1, 3, and 5, all CLG victories, all extremely close games.
Hey,
games 2 and 4 definitely going towards TSM, but those games had me at the edge of my seat. That's got to be one of the most entertaining best of 5s I've watched in a while.
It was heart-wrenching. I'm a Liquid fan, for those of you who don't know, but today I was a TSM fan. I've always kind of I've had, a bit of an admiration for Bjergsen just because he's the best player in NALCS. So how can you not like the guy? I just have never really been a huge fan of CLG. I think they're a good team this year, obviously. And so I was like a TSM fan for a day. So it was a little hard.
It was a rent-a-card.
Yeah, it was I just went to the store and rented a little bit of a TSM badge there, wore it on my chest. After this series, took it off, and I framed it and cried over it like Wolverine with the picture of whatever in bed. Anyways, this series was really entertaining. I have to agree with you there. Unfortunately, TSM went 2-3 in the series, but Blue Side went 5-0. So
yeah, Blue Side strats. Blue side. Oh, and I mean, that's the thing. You give CLG Blue Side, they've got the strats for it.
Even though that the red side games could have been won by TSM, I think we talked about it earlier. CLG's wins were very close. TSM wins were not close. They stomped. So I think TSM was actually the better team in this series. Not to take anything away from CLG, but CLG's late game, man. What can I say? Afromu's a god. That guy's shot calls like nothing I've ever seen.
And that's what we said.
One of the most underrated players, unfortunately, in LCS. I think a lot of people look at the KDAs and look at all the flashy Immortals players and don't give Afromu the recognition he deserves. I think one of the best players, if not the best support in NALCS, his shot calling is god tier, up there with obviously High. And
That's what we talked about. Their macro play being so strong, and really that's what it came down to, was the macro play versus the TSM team fighting prowess. And the macro play definitely pulled through in there. And I mean, you could see it was just like they were so methodical taking the objectives. I mean, if you look back at game one was where the minions ended up winning the game. They got the 2 inhibitors. They forced TSM to come fight at Baron, and they elongated that fight for so long. They kept TSM there, and the minions ended up winning the game. And it's just very well thought out. Afromoo is MVP of Game 3. I want to break down that last team. If you guys did not watch the game, watch the last team fight of that game. I believe that is where he lands a stun on double lift, then immediately uses ult, catches 3 members of TSM, once again stuns double lift, pretty much taking him completely out of the fight. And then his team ends up just cleaning up. Honestly, Stixay had nothing to worry about that game. That was the greasiest Runan's proc also I've ever seen. We were mind blown. The rapid fire cannon proc with the Runans as he distorted back. It was unreal. But that game, I was very questionable about that LeBlanc pick into the Poppy pick. Poppy being so good into LeBlanc, and it kind of showed in that last team fight. Bjergsen had no openings to get there, and when we first saw him go in, Darshan, very smart, immediately took him out of the play. And he neutralized a lot of Bjergsen's damage in that game. And CLG came out ahead. It was just a very smart macro play by them. Gotta give him props.
CLG, the champs. Once again, the defending champions. Maybe we'll get them finally after winning 2 splits.
Do you think they've ever had that before, where CLG can be the defending champions? Like, that's pretty good for them.
Well, they've never had it. They've never had it. TSM have won it. MC9 have won it. CLG's first time was winning it last year. So for the first time ever, defending champions.
It's gotta feel good doing it against double lift too.
Absolutely. Why not? I know there's probably no bad blood anymore, but like, why not, right?
Yeah.
Maybe between Hotshot and double lift, there's still bad.
Yeah. But I mean, you gotta give props to them, and that's the thing is that at the end of this playoffs, all stuff set aside, I'm so excited because I mean, we've seen Echo Fox. They finally are gonna have their full roster, and they looked very strong towards the end of the season.
Yep.
Renegades finally getting their kinks. They changed their roster a little bit. Seraph coming in and being the LCS top lane slayer.
The booster.
As a beast.
Sorry, what?
That's Alex Ish. He's the booster.
Right. Yeah.
But and then I mean, TSM finally hitting their stroke. They looked really good. Team Liquid, with the Immortal series aside, looked very strong at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. NRG, still a little like, but I think them going forward, they could pull it together. And I just think that next split is going to be even more competitive with how well these teams have progressed. So I really hope we don't see any mid-season roster swaps.
Yeah.
Because these teams have come so far from the start of the split, and I feel like they're a lot stronger. And honestly, this is the first split where I can say I've actually enjoyed watching NALCS more than I've enjoyed watching EU LCS, because I feel like the teams have been a lot closer, and it's been more consistent games to watch. They're a lot more exciting. I just feel like EU has been so like screwed up this split. It's been really weird. So I'm really excited for the NALCS next split, and I'm excited for CLG. I'll be a CLG fan for a weekend. I'm definitely gonna be cheering for them at MSI because You know what? When it's international, you cheer for your region, and it's
right.
And it's got my vote. So I'll be a CLG fanboy for a weekend.
Yeah, I think everything you said right there is spot on.
Actually, I think MSI split over 2 weeks.
Is it split over 2 weeks?
I think their group
that just makes it even better for us. That's even better for us.
Yeah, except the fact that the finals are the same weekend as the SKL finals.
Not better for us.
Not better for us. That kind of sucks. But I mean, I'm very excited about the next split of LCS. But I guess the other thing we'd like to hit on is our ARAM tournament we ran this weekend. We want to thank everyone for coming out for the ARAM tournament. We had about 10 teams show up. It was a lot of fun. I know the admins, we had solo registrations. We had a couple of people, me and Silky played in it. We ended up going 2-4. RNG got the best of us, man. We got like all melee comps like 3 times.
The one danger of ARAM tournament, as fun as it was, and I had a lot of fun. Wow, the RNG, man, that's such a big part of it. That's the danger. That's
I think that's the thing I love about this ARAM tournament is it's so RNG. Like, you can put as much skill as you want into it, but sometimes like you have to make do with what you're given, and that really shows like how well you can adapt to this game. And that's just
how poorly we were able to make do with what we were doing.
Oh yeah, we there was a couple games we were just like, oh man, like I think we lost our first game in 11.5 minutes.
I wasn't part of that.
Right, that was Crafty. Crafty played through on that one. It was a rough one. that was definitely one of those ones where we got shafted in Pickman. But it was a lot of fun, and I mean, we're definitely going to be looking to do more of those tournaments going forward. ARAM, I mean, there's definitely going to be an ERF tournament. Yeah, we love us some ERF, so ERF, Legend of the Poro King, Ascension, all that stuff. We're definitely going to be looking to do a tournament like that in the future, probably once the finals are done. So look for that towards the end of May. We'll definitely announce it ahead of time, but it was a lot of fun. The teams that came out, it was a great time. So make sure you guys keep a lookout for that, and thanks for all the teams that participated. And then we have an SKL Beer Night. You want to hit them up with that, Silky? Since I feel like I didn't let you talk much.
I'm so excited for the SKL Beer Night coming to Saskatoon on, make sure I get this right, May 7th?
Attaboy. There we go. It is May 7th.
That is going to be a Saturday, and that is going to be at the Hose and the Hydrant Pub in Saskatoon. It's going to be from 8 to 10.
You got her.
Oh my God, 2 for 2, 8 to 10
Slaying
o'clock.
it.
You're going to buy your ticket, and with your ticket, you get free beer. So it's not totally free because you have to buy your ticket, but after that, free beer from 8 to 10, all you can drinking straight from a keg or whatever kind of beer they're giving us. How fun is that? You get to drink with the SKL admins. You're going to see old Silkymittens here getting a little bit lit up, drinking a little brews, having some fun. You're going to see Dazaninator there. He's going to be getting nutty. The rest of the crew, they're all going to be there as well. We're going to be having some fun, and you get to support SKL all in the same night.
And the greatest part is grab some friends and come out and have a beer. They don't even have to be into SKL. I mean,
absolutely. I know we're going to be inviting a lot of our friends who aren't necessarily esports friends. They just really like to drink. And
it's more of a, come out, have some drinks with your friends, have a good time. It can be your pre-drinking ritual for whatever you want to do on that Saturday night. I'm sure the SKL boys will get off to a good old start after that, but we got to stay calm. I mean, it is our event, but yeah, definitely come check it out. We will have tickets available online. You can also just hit us up on Facebook. There's an event page. Go check it out there. Us admins will personally have tickets for you guys if you need to buy one. Hit us up. You can talk to me on Lee. You can find me on Twitter. Our Twitter handles underneath our names here. Hit us up. Hit any of the admins up for a ticket. We'll make sure you guys get one, and we will also be selling tickets at the door that day. So if you don't get one ahead of time, just show up to that Hose and Hydrant on May 7th at 8 o'clock and buy your ticket at the door if you'd like.
There you go. That's pretty much... How can you not like that?
Hey, you know what? I love having a beer. Last night. Yeah, let's talk about last night after the ARAM tournament. Where did we go? BP's for a beer and some food, and it was nice. And then we went and watched The Jungle Book.
Boom.
Okay, tilt or feed segment. But Jungle Book was good. If any of you guys...
Good segue.
Yeah, but time out. But Jungle Book, if any of you guys want to go see that movie, it was really good. I was very impressed. I'm a big Disney guy, so I felt like Disney did it right with the live action. I haven't been disappointed with any of their live action movies yet. Silky, well, how did you like the Jungle Book?
Oh, wait, is this part of our Tilter feed?
Nope. I just want your opinion on Jungle Book, and then we'll segue into Tilter feed. Or is it going to be part of your Tilter feed?
It's part of my Tilter feed. But
all right, let's segue into Tilter feed.
Segue into it? Okay, let's do it. Roll right into it.
All right, so Silky, you know how it works. I'll explain it for people who maybe not been here. We do a segment called Tilter feed. Touch on something that tilted us this week, something that fed us this week. It doesn't necessarily have to be league related, but... and if you guys want to share something that Tilter feeded you, throw it in the comments. We'll throw it out here. If there's something you got to get off your chest, throw it in the chat. Let us know. If you got any questions while we're sitting here doing this, we'll try and answer them for you at the end. But Silky, what tilted you? What tilted you this week?
Oh, what tilted me this week? I think an easy one would be TSM losing the way they did today, but I'm over it by now, so I'm not tilted. But I'm still tilted about good old Jungle Book yesterday. As Dazaninator just pointed out, the casters and some of the crew and some of our other friends went out for some drinks, had some good food, and then when we went out to Jungle Book after, I must say, what a beautiful movie. Unfortunately, I was so goddamn tired. I had a final that same day earlier in the morning. I had to stay and play League. I had to play ARAMs and lose a bunch in those for 6 hours straight. I got very little sleep the night before because I was studying for my finals all night. So I was running on like 2 to 3 hours of sleep. And at 11 o'clock, you're sitting in a comfortable chair in AVX in the theater, and the 3D glasses were on. But
they get you, man.
My eyes were closed, man. I probably an hour 45 run time. I was probably asleep for a good hour of that. So I got 45 minutes of the movie, and that tilted me so much because I was looking so forward to watching it with the boys and the girls as well. And I couldn't do it, man. Couldn't hold the eyes open. Slept through a good part of the movie. That's what tilted me, Blake. Now I can't say anything when you sleep at movies at the theater because
Yeah.
I've joined the club.
I mostly just wanted that to come out because you guys might not know. Dazaninator has fallen asleep in 3 movies at the movie theater. Transformers 3. I was very tired. I actually had my prescription sunglasses on and then 3D glasses over that, so it was so dark. I just fell asleep. I also didn't like the movie. I fell asleep in Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Now, this is where Silky tilts because he's a huge Star Wars fan. I had nothing against Star Wars. It wasn't that I didn't enjoy the movie. I worked at 4 a.m. I got like 3 or 4 hours of sleep. This movie was on at like 8 o'clock, and I mean, I'd already been up for like 16 hours. I was tired. I worked all day. I fell asleep in the movie. It happens. I saw the important stuff. I definitely have to rewatch it. And I fell asleep in Zootopia. I was really tired. We went late. I have no excuse for that one. I was tired. I went to sleep.
Another quality movie you slept
through. It was good. Make sure to check out Zootopia. But so now I just wanted Silky because he's the one who gives me the hardest time. I just needed him to admit that he fell asleep in a movie.
Now I can't give you a hard time.
All right. Well, what tilted me this week? All right. Well, I tilt very easily, so a lot of things tilted me this week. But the TSM series, I was a little tilted, but like you said, I'm over it. Like it was just a well played series. They made some mistakes that I was kind of like, ugh, but what are you doing? But it happens. I think the biggest tilt for me was going from Plat 1 95 LP being trolled by the goddamn Rain Man. I don't know if you guys have watched LCS. TSM used to have a top laner called the Rain Man. He used to be my hero. Not actually. I just, TSM being my team, that was kind of when I started watching. So, I saw the Rain Man. I was like, oh man, like the Rain Man, I get to play with him. It's so cool. And he actually turned out to be a toxic piece of garbage. And I 9 times reported him that game. It was actually, that is my tilting moment actually. It sucked. It was like this guy that you're
getting
like, oh
trolled.
Man, play your favorite team, you finally get to play with him, and he actually just trolled. And he said open mid, and then he just sat in base and danced as Trundle because he was upset that we were down 3 kills.
He was a literal troll like 6 minutes in and totally. Oh, man.
And then after that game, I lost 7 games in a row, and now so I went from Plat 1 95 LP to Plat 2 58 LP. So I'm a little tilted. But
like you either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And
I got Dark Knighted.
You totally got Dark Knighted by the Rain Man. He's still living in solo queue. Unfortunately, he's become the villain, and I feel for you, man. If I got in a game with like Voyboy, because he made me the curse. He's my favorite player of all time. And if I like met him in solo queue and he was like toxic, he's not like Rain Man to you because Rain Man's not your hero, but yeah. I would die. So I felt for you.
Yeah, it hurt. Yeah. Actually, this week I actually also played against Trinimortal. I don't know if any of you guys know who that is, but I played against him and he played Yasuo. So I was like, man, that name looks familiar. I was like, hey, that's Trinimortal.
You're gonna be in a video right away.
We beat him. So we probably won't put that in this video.
He might.
But yeah, so I actually played against Pancakes in season 3.
Ooh. So you've got that boy connection there.
Yeah, so I played against his girlfriend. I played bot lane against her. And I personally crushed her, but we got destroyed by her team. So.
Oh, was Voyboy like on a Smurf playing?
I actually had her stream. I had her stream up, and I was listening, and she was actually like, "Oh man, this Draven's just too good." I was like, "Oh my god."
That was me. Boom.
That was me. But yeah. But all right. So Tilt. Now we're gonna talk about what fed us this week. I'll start. I'm done class. I've been spending the last couple of months upgrading one of my marks, and it's been taking up a lot of my time. And it's not really fun to retake a class to upgrade for like 2% to get into my program. So I finally finished. I got a mark I am more than happy with. So I am pretty stoked to have all that free time back and be able to hang out with the boys and do a little more SKL stuff. So that's what fed me this week. Silky, what fed you this week?
There's a couple things I could choose from here. One of the minor ones is that kind of like similar to yours. School's coming to a close here. I still have one more final left. That's going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt. So that's kind of coming to an end. It's nice to be done. All the finals are kind of getting done with. And going back to Moose Jaw, of course, that's never a bad thing. But I think today...
That's debatable.
Yeah, okay. Swift... Let's be real. They're not too different, Swift Current and Moose Jaw. They're kind of similar here. Anyways, let's move on.
Yeah, that's an argument for a different day.
Yeah, let's move on. Well, that'll tilter feed me like another day. This week, what fed me is definitely, I think it's been nice for a couple weeks, but just the good weather.
Oh, yes.
I haven't been a fan of winter for the last couple years just because I'm not playing hockey competitively anymore. So that used to be like the saving grace of winter for me because I'd be able to lace on the old skates and go to the rink pretty much every day. But since those days have gone, I'm not playing hockey as much, unfortunately. Winter has become a little bit of a sore spot for me. The months on the calendar in the winter months, they're kind of like I see them and I just get angry. But this today has been beautiful. It's been nice for a couple weeks, and this week I've really noticed it. My spirits have been lifted. I've felt good. I felt rejuvenated. So it's the good weather. I'm going to go with the good weather for this week. It's really lifted my spirits and made me smile a little bit more.
That's fair. You know what? I've actually really enjoyed work. I think I might be able to crack out the shorts tomorrow. I'm pretty stoked. You know, delivering mail all day in pants and like a thick jacket, it's gross when it's this hot out. So I'm pretty stoked to wear shorts tomorrow. But you know what? That's all I really.
Stoking the fire in Twitch chat, I see.
Yeah, that wasn't me actually. Someone else was also on SKLeague. So,
okay.
Sorry about that. I said I wouldn't. Okay. But you know what, guys? That's another episode of Dazzles Discussions. I want to give a huge thank you for you guys coming out and watching. I want to give a huge thanks to my co-host today, Mr. Carter Silkymittens Asselford. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much for having me, Blake. I love being on the show. I haven't been on for a couple weeks. I was getting all rested. You know, you're bogging me down with all your negative. You're not negative at all. It's always a blast to be on the show. And another one in the books. It's exciting.
Yeah. I'm stoked. So, thanks for consoling me after that TSM loss. You know, I was kind of happy to be with my friends to keep me together after I was completely crushed because now I have to drink Guinness for an entire night, and I do not like Guinness at all. So it's gonna be a rough night, but I'm gonna enjoy the hell out of it because that's what you do when you make a bet and you lose. You can't be a sore loser. So. Gonna make the best out of it. But thanks guys for joining. We will be back again next Sunday, but make sure you tune back in tomorrow to see Lunatic Piece versus ADP Gaming at 7. I'm sure one of us casters will be here. Unfortunately, it won't be Silky as he's gone this week, but make sure to come check it out, guys. Thanks for kicking around. You guys have a good week and keep it classy.
Bye.